everyone, and welcome to Hype versus Reality, a session on what to know about government-backed AI threats. Rapid advancements in AI are opening new possibilities for the way that we work and accelerating innovation in science, technology, and beyond. However, some of these same AI capabilities are also available to attackers. This has led to understandable anxiety about the potential for AI to be misused for malicious purposes. But much of the current discourse around cyber threat actors' misuse of AI is confined to theoretical research. While these studies and proofs of concepts demonstrate the potential for malicious exploitation of AI, they don't necessarily reflect the reality of how AI is currently being used by threat actors in the wild. To bridge this gap, we are sharing a comprehensive analysis of how government-backed threat actors interacted with Google's AI-powered assistant, Gemini. My name is Aurora Bloom, and I am a threat intelligence analyst with the Google Threat Intelligence Group. Today, I'm going to be speaking about how adversaries are misusing generative AI tooling. Here's our agenda for the session. I will give a quick introduction to our team and our research, and then get into our findings. First, looking at AI-focused threats, then what we observed from government-backed attackers, and finally from coordinated information operations actors. Our analysis was grounded in the expertise of the Google Threat Intelligence Group. The Google Threat Intelligence Group brings together the Mandiant Intelligence and Threat Analysis Group, or TAG, teams. This combines decades of experience tracking threat actors on the front lines and protecting Alphabet, our users, and our customers from a variety of threats. These threats include government-backed attackers, targeted zero-day exploits, coordinated information operations, and serious cybercrime threat works. Now, if you'd like to read the report that this presentation is based on, which includes additional examples and more details for the case studies I'll discuss, it is available to read or download on the Google Cloud blog. As I said, much of the current discourse around AI misuse by cyber threat actors is confined to theoretical research. While this research demonstrates the potential for malicious exploitation of AI, we wanted to understand how it's being used in the wild. First, how are threat actors interacting with Gemini? Second, how are government-backed threat actors using generative AI in their operations in the wild? And third, does any of this activity represent novel or unique AI-enabled attack or abuse techniques? So again, our analysis focused on how the government-backed threat actors that we currently track are interacting with Gemini in the real world. We leveraged technical signals from our work over many years tracking these threat actors to protect Google in order to identify where government-backed threat actors were misusing Gemini. In our research, we focused on two groups of bad actors. First, advanced persistent threat, or APT actors. These are actors that are conducting government-backed hacking, including cyber espionage and destructive computer network attacks. And second, actors conducting coordinated information operations. These are actors that are attempting to influence online audiences in a deceptive, coordinated manner. Example of this includes sock puppet accounts or comment brigading. By using a mix of analyst review and LLM-assisted analysis, we investigated prompts and usage by APT and IO threat actors. Any activity that we assessed to be in support of malicious campaigns by these threat actors, we called threat enabling. Our understanding of how government-backed threat actors and their campaigns that's been based on many years of analysis, provided the needed context to assess whether activity by these actors is threat enabling in support of malicious activity, or if it's benign. So what did we find in our research? Our first key finding is that while AI can be a useful tool for threat actors, it's not yet the game changer it's sometimes portrayed to be. While we do see threat actors using generative AI to perform common tasks like troubleshooting code, research, content generation, we did not see any indications of them developing novel capabilities. Rather than enabling disruptive change, generative AI allows threat actors to move faster and at higher volume. For a skilled actor, generative AI tools provide a helpful framework, similar to how they use Metasploit or Cobalt Strike in cyber threat activity. For a less skilled actor, these tools also provide learning and productivity gains, enabling them to more quickly develop tools or to incorporate existing techniques. At the time of analysis, current large language models on their own are unlikely to enable breakthrough capabilities for threat actors. Now, this may change, as we are all well aware the AI landscape is in constant flux, with new AI models and agents emerging seemingly daily. As this evolution continues, we anticipate that the threat landscape will evolve as threat actors adopt new AI technologies in their operations. Our second key finding is that Gemini's safety and security measures were effective at restricting content that would have otherwise enhanced adversary capabilities. While Gemini provided assistance with common tasks like content creation and even simple coding tasks, requests to assist with more elaborate or explicitly malicious tasks generated safety responses from Gemini. Our third key finding is that threat actors were unsuccessful in their attempts to use Gemini to enable abuse of Google products. We had seen attempts to research advanced phishing techniques for Gmail, searching for assistance coding a Chrome info stealer, and even looking at methods to bypass Google's account creation verification methods. But Gemini did not produce malware or any other content that could plausibly be used in a successful malicious campaign. Instead, the safety responses consisted of safety-guided content and were generally helpful, neutral advice about coding and cybersecurity. We have not seen threat actors either expand their capabilities or better succeed in their efforts to bypass Google defenses. Our last key finding is that we did not observe any original or persistent attempts by threat actors to either use prompt attacks or other machine learning-focused threats as outlined in Google's Secure AI Framework or SAFE risk taxonomy. That brings me to our section on AI-focused threats. Now, attackers can misuse large language models in two ways. One way is attempting to leverage models to accelerate their campaigns. This can look like generating code for malware or creating content for phishing emails. The overwhelming majority of activity we observed, and that I'll be speaking about, falls into this category. The second way attackers can misuse large language models is to instruct a model or an AI agent to take a malicious action. For example, this could be finding sensitive user data and exfiltrating it. These risks are outlined in Google's SAFE risk taxonomy. Now, we did not observe any original or persistent attempts by threat actors to use prompt attacks or other AI-specific threats. This includes jailbreak attempts, which are a type of prompt injection attack, trying to cause an AI model to behave in ways that they've been trained to avoid. This can look like outputting unsafe information or leaking sensitive data. We did observe a handful of cases of low-effort experimentation to bypass Gemini's safety controls. Actors were copy-pasting publicly available prompts from places like GitHub, but were unsuccessful. Gemini would respond with safety fallback responses and would decline to follow the threat actor's instructions. In response, rather than trying to engineer a tailored prompt, the threat actor would then use a very basic measure, such as rephrasing the prompt or sending the same prompt multiple times. Again, none of these attempts were successful. Now to look at government-backed groups. So we analyzed Gemini activity associated with known APT actors, and we identified groups from more than 20 different countries that use Gemini. The highest volume of usage in our data set were groups from Iran and from China. We saw very limited use of Gemini by Russian APT actors in our data set. Government-backed attackers were attempting to use Gemini for all sorts of tasks, including coding and scripting, gathering information on targets, researching known vulnerabilities, and enabling post-compromise activities. In very broad terms, APT actors used Gemini to support several phases of the attack lifecycle. This included everything from researching potential infrastructure, such as free hosting providers, reconnaissance on individual targets and target organizations, researching public vulnerabilities, payload development, including code troubleshooting, tool and script development, and converting or rewriting existing code, all the way to actions on objectives, enabling post-compromise activities such as techniques to evade detection, escalate privileges, or conduct internal reconnaissance in a target environment once a compromise had occurred. Iranian government-backed attackers accounted for the largest Gemini use linked to APT actors in our data set. We observed a broad scope of research and use cases. Now, the activity that we saw was in line with what we'd expect to see. This means that actors were looking for ways to increase the productivity of their existing practices. For Iran, this means that the activity we saw reflected strategic Iranian interests and were in support of common tactics that we see over and over again in their campaigns. We saw research focused on defense organizations, defense experts, systems, foreign governments, individual Iranian dissidents, the Israel-Hamas conflict, and social issues in Iran. Over 30% of the activity we saw was linked to the APT actor APT42. This group focuses on crafting successful phishing campaigns, targeting defense and military, and we saw this reflected in their activity. We saw them conducting reconnaissance into individual policy and defense experts as well as organizations. They used text generation and editing capabilities to craft material that could be used in phishing campaigns, and they were researching publicly known vulnerabilities. We also see them researching how to use generative AI tools for offensive purposes, showing that these groups are still very much figuring out how they can use these tools for productivity gains. For government-backed APT actors linked to the People's Republic of China, while they also conducted research and translation, their usage often resembled an IT admin seeking to streamline, troubleshoot, or automate their tasks. They used Gemini to work through scripting and development tasks, conduct research into technical tools, explain technical concepts, and troubleshoot code. But this is where the additional context from the Google Threat Intelligence Group comes in. In a malicious context, the same activity that could be used by an IT admin to streamline a process could be used to enable lateral movement, privilege escalation, data exfiltration, and detection evasion. North Korean APT actors also used Gemini to support several phases of their attack lifecycle. This included everything from researching potential infrastructure, reconnaissance on target organizations, payload development, and again, assistance with malicious scripting and evasion techniques. They also used Gemini to research topics of strategic interest to the North Korean government. This included South Korean nuclear technology and the ever-popular cryptocurrency. North Korean APT actors also used Gemini to draft cover letters and research tech jobs. Again, this is where context is key. These activities, if benign, would look like somebody researching a job application process in the technology sector. However, these activities likely supported ongoing efforts by North Korean nationals to use fake identities to obtain freelance and full-time IT jobs at foreign companies. This scheme has involved thousands of North Korean workers and affected hundreds of US-based companies, uses IT workers with false identities to complete freelance work and send wages back to the North Korean regime. Outside of their use of Gemini, North Korean cyber threat actors have shown a long-standing interest in AI tools, most likely to augment malicious operations, improve efficiency and capabilities, and like all of us, to save time and toil in their work. Again, during our period of analysis, we saw very little use of Gemini by Russian-backed APT actors. Of the limited use, the majority was benign rather than threat-enabling. The reasons for this low engagement are unclear. It's possible they avoided Gemini and other Western LLMs out of operational security concerns, perhaps to avoid monitoring of their activities. They could be using AI tools produced by Russian firms or locally hosted LLMs to ensure full control of their infrastructure. Alternatively, they may be using tools that we don't have insights into. And now on to our findings for actors conducting coordinated information operations. These actors have experimented with Gemini to enable their operations, and while they are finding productivity gains, we're not yet seeing the development of novel capabilities. In addition to creating content for campaigns, including text or personas, actors conducting information operation campaigns were researching increasing the efficacy of their campaigns, such as search engine optimization research. These actors also use Gemini for translation and localization of text, and to research the meaning or context of content. Once again, the highest volume of usage we saw in our dataset was from actors linked to Iran. Iran actually accounted for 3/4 of all prompts linked to actors conducting information operations. Now, in their campaigns, these actors tend to mix original and borrowed content. In line with this practice, we saw actors translate existing material, including news-like articles, and then use Gemini to rewrite these existing texts in a specific style or tone, as well as suggest headlines, or to create summaries with a different political tone. We also saw these actors use Gemini to localize content. This means searching for human-like translation, asking Gemini for help, like making the text sound like a native English speaker, anything they can do to try to make the text seem more authentic to a user. Actors conducting information operations linked to the People's Republic of China primarily use Gemini for general research on a wide variety of topics. Across all IO actors, the most prolific one we track is the pro-China group Dragon Bridge, and they were responsible for approximately 3/4 of the activity we saw in this dataset linked to China. Now, Dragon Bridge has experimented in the past with other generative AI tools to create synthetic content in support of their campaigns. As early as 2022, the group was using a commercial AI service to depict AI-generated news presenters in videos on YouTube. Now, while Google detects and terminates these channels and distributing this content upon discovery, their use of AI-generated video continues. But while they continue to use AI-generated video, presumably to increase the productivity of their campaigns, it has not resulted in significantly higher engagement from real viewers. We're not seeing a breakthrough capability from their use of these tools. As for actors linked to Russia conducting information operation campaigns, they often use Gemini for general research, as well as content creation and translation. Half of this activity was associated with the actor that we track as Krymsky Bridge, linked to a Russian consulting firm that works with the Russian government. The majority of the usage was related to general research tasks, finding details about various tools and services, and honestly, researching current events. They also used Gemini to create content, to rewrite article titles, and to plan social media campaigns. Translation to and from Russian was also a very common task. Now, Russian actors have used AI in their influence campaigns in the past. In 2024, the actor known as Copycat, a group that uses inauthentic news sites to spread narratives, likely used large language models to generate their content. Some of their stories on their fake news sites included metadata indicating that a large language model was prompted to rewrite articles from genuine news sources, but with a particular tone or perspective. So once again, what we see is that despite threat actors attempting to misuse Gemini for productivity gains, the results are not getting higher engagement from users. So we are not yet seeing breakthrough capabilities. In cybersecurity, AI is poised to transform digital defense, empower defenders, and enhance our collective security. Large language models open new possibilities for defenders, from sifting through complex telemetry to secure coding, discovering vulnerabilities, and to streamlining operations. At Google, we continue to apply our intelligence to improve defenses and protect users from cyber threat activity. Our learnings from countering these malicious activities are fed back into product development to improve safety and security for our AI models. We continue to proactively disrupt malicious activity to protect our users and to help make the internet safer. We also share our findings, like this report, with the security community to raise awareness and enable stronger protections for all. If you'd like to read more about our research, this report and many others are available on our Google Cloud blog. Thank you all for your attention today and enjoy the rest of the summit.